sovereign authority, simply because we have to prove lineage. That's your blood. That's how they've walked all over us. So we're not a corporation. We are lineage. And if you can get as much as you can back, at least 3 generations, that's plenty. That's all we need. You'll see that we just need numbers. And anything that we're working with, for anyone who's listening who does any of our process, please take your data down and have it scanned electronically, read-only files onto a CD disk. And then send us the disk or email us the files off of it over. We really don't have the facilities to be able to store, nor do I want the security responsibility of everybody's personal documents and information. So your scanning them saves us all a lot of time and potentials of leakage. Now we're going to get into our history. So it's time for the history section, history lesson. Here we go, History 101. All right. What I have in front of you is about working with the trust. But before I even want to go here, I'm going to step you back a little further on stuff that we have not written yet. Okay? And we're going to go back to about 1140 AD. And those of you who have studied a great amount of time on the Templars and the Masonic realm, you will know this. Those of you who haven't, get ready, settle down. I got a good story for you. About 1140 AD, or somewhere in the early parts of the 1100s. Now, the Templars have been doing some other crusades, but they really hadn't established themselves. They went before the Roman Catholic Church in Rome, and most of these young men that presented themselves to the Pope at that time were poor second sons, or they had enough for a horse and armor and maybe a squire, but they were cousins and third sons, and they had no rights of heritage lineage under the law at that time, because remember, the firstborn got everything. The first son got everything, right? So these second ones had no hope of being in lineage unless their older brothers died. So they all went to the Pope and said, look, we want to be of service to the church. Our heart is good. We want to serve the church. So the Pope says, okay, I can find something for you to do in the service of God. Well, about that time, you also have the city of Constantine, which is now Istanbul. And this was back in Byzantine, the country of the Byzantine Empire. Now, they had a pope, too. That's where the Eastern Orthodox Church comes from, was this split that happened. And their pope had the lands and territories that went around the Dead Sea and Jerusalem and all of that area, and he was being overrun at that time by the Turkish Empire. So he put in a call to the Roman Catholic Church and said, help me, I need some help. You got any free boys sitting around that want, a little guts and glory, and, they don't want any money? And so the Roman Catholic Pope, he thought to himself, well, this could be a really good way to heal the rift between the churches. So I'm going to send my Knights of Templar over there to help my friend and brother in Christ in the Byzantine Empire. So off this little band of holy knights, blessed by the Roman Pope, goes off to Byzantine Pope. He says, go down there for south and clean out that mess. They're coming up into my empire. I need control of my lands again. So off went this group of Templar knights. Off they went, and all of a sudden, in a very short period of time, became highly successful. They took massive amounts of land, as well as Jerusalem itself. Not just Jerusalem the city, but Jerusalem the nation as it was at that time. And all of these lands that they conquered, they kept, which really wasn't in either pope's plan at that time. But they said, we conquered, we have the bounty and the booty, and what we conquered is ours. So what they did was they created Templar states all around the area down there, including Jerusalem. Well, the two popes were a little stunned, to say the least. So then you don't hear a whole lot about it until right around 1144. And in 1144, I believe it's Pope Innocent VI, he is approached by the Templars, and it is near the end of his reign. He's been around on the throne for quite a while now, and he's approached by the Templars, and they say, "Hey, dear Daddy Pope, well, we did what you asked us to do. Now we got a few things that we want from you, because if you didn't notice, we're in control of Jerusalem and the whole central point there of the Middle East. And this is what we want." And this is when the Pope in 1144 wrote the first papal order giving massive power to the Templars. Well, he passed away at the end of 1144. Another Pope took over. He lasted for 1 year. During that year, the Templars came to him again and said, well, we missed a few things. We want you to give us some more powers and authorities. At which he did. Not that I believe he had much option, but he did release the Templars and their powers and authorities. So now they've had two separate popes within a 12 to 18-month period empower them and authorize them with massive duties, powers, obligations, and authority. Okay? So then everything tricks along for a while. And here we go up. And we're right about, if I remember correctly, let's see, 1144, 1145. Right up into another pope about a few years later. Might be a couple of decades. I apologize. I don't have all that specifics in my notes. So now they've had two separate popes. That second pope only lasted a year. So now they have a third pope that steps in. Well, they wait a few years. They go knocking on his door. "Hey, Big Daddy Pope, we need more power and authority. We ain't got enough yet. We need this, this, this." He authorizes them through a papal order with another load. So now you have three different popes who have empowered the Templars with probably more power and authority than they have, except, probably more than any cardinal or bishop or archbishop has. These people got massive powers. We don't even know all the powers. I have no idea. Haven't had the time. Don't even know if it's available or open. It's probably buried in the Vatican, all these papal bulls and all these papal orders. So now you have them. Okay, so now we're sitting right around 1200. And we're running right from 1200 until 1306. And in 1306 is when the Pope goes to the King of France, who owes him a lot of money. The King of France owes the Pope a lot of money. And I'm sure they both owe the Templars a lot of money, because by this time they have been fully encountered. They've had 150 years of power, authority. They've handled and established and created the first world banking system. They're moving monies right and left. They did 90 years of excavation under Solomon's temple, under the Temple Mount in Jerusalem when they took it over. So 90 years they spent excavating underneath the Solomon's temple. And we know that's where their boatloads and boatloads and boatloads of treasures came out. So here we have 1306, and we have a Pope. He goes to the King of France going, "Look, we got to get rid of these Templar guys. They got way too much power. We owe them way too much money. So we're going to classify them as heretics." Now, in those